we are back with our second episode of a double header, and we are doing pack number 6 of the elemental cycle. 6-pack being Elements Unbound. So I think my understanding is while the first 5 packs were sort of each themed around one of the elements, this is sort of a bit more about the Kami being unleashed and some of the other sort of sub themes of the pack. Has anyone sort of read up much about that?
Read the story. Colm, what do you think this is?
I know Baz had a nice little write up at the start of the article, and actually, if you do want to get sort of the more considered view and get Baz's view on some of the dragon cards, it's well worth checking out the write ups. I know all the guys also contributed to the various clans. So, well, let's start with definitely the kind of probably most impactful card of the pack, which is Hisu Mori Toride, Unicorn version. So a +1 strength Unicorn Stronghold. It's a fort, it's unique. 11 starting honor, 10 influence, 7 fate. It's a fort, and reaction after you win a military conflict with more participating characters than your opponent. This stronghold and sacrifice a friendly cavalry character. May declare an additional military conflict this phase. So Andy, we've obviously kind of knew this was on the horizon. We've seen this with a very similar back for Lion, with a card of the same name. What are your thoughts on Hisu Mori Toride?
Yeah, it looks pretty familiar, right? And any Lion player is probably going to be pretty miffed at seeing this stronghold, because this is literally just a kick in the face to all Lion players out there. This is, this one rankles. This one gets my hackles up, because while it looks from the outset, it looks like this card is just, an outnumbering equivalent, or just a unicorn equivalent of the same box. But the difference in the dynamics of this one, the difference of how this one triggers, and the difference in card support that this one has compared with what Lion have to deal with is just absolutely, there's night and day between the two. There's a million miles between these two decks, in my opinion, these two strongholds, the Lion version and the Unicorn version. And to give Unicorn, actually, this I was talking about with some friends. Hey, Baz. He's not here yet, I don't think, but he's going to be coming in.
It's just connecting in.
This box gives Unicorn such a boost, and it not only gives them a boost in their main theme or their main way of winning, which is conquest. It actually gives them a viable honor deck as well, I feel, because it allows you to get that little bit closer starting honor towards 25. And with yurts, rebuilds, and Wave the Chrysanthemum, you're never too far away from 25. You're actually never too far off. But anyway, let's get down to brass tacks. This stronghold is far better than the Lion version. Unicorn are far better supported with the cards they have, and I think this is going to propel Unicorn possibly to tier 1, probably to tier 1.
All right, Owen, your thoughts on Hisu Mori Toride Unicorn flavor?
So this is really funny. This reads like Smash Cut design. It's literally like, okay, initially in the core set, Unicorn had 2 military conflicts. That was too strong. Don't worry, we've got plenty of other ideas to bring them up to speed. Smash Cut to the end of the elemental cycle. Yeah, we're going back to 2 military conflicts. This is like, yep, we got some different ideas. None of them worked. All right, back to 2 military conflicts. It's giving them the tempo and pressure that they really badly needed. They're meant to be this deck that comes at you fast, keeps coming at you, beats you before you really establish yourself. That's what they're meant to do. this gives them the tools to put on that speed, because as they weren't doing it. I know Brad was saying at Birmingham that he thought Unicorn were going to put the brakes on Crab and Scorpion by hitting them before they had a chance to get ready. I can see that badly hurting Crab. I am not so sure about it badly hitting Scorpion, but we shall see. It's a really aggressive box. It gets right in your face really quickly. And if you have a bad flip, you could lose the game, which is, always interesting to be against it.
Yeah. And Justin, do you think this is enough to put Unicorn back on the map?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's definitely a huge step up from their current stronghold. There's no question about that. So the most interesting thing about this for me is that it attacks along a completely new axis in the game, which is just having more characters than your opponent. So where the lion version of Hisumori Toride is peculiarly vulnerable to, for example, Scorpion's standard batch of defensive tricks, a card like this lines up exactly of Scorpion's strength. So this card, I'm going to go wide. Scorpion's strength is maintaining a minimal board presence while still being able to affect the board. And now you have a card like this, which basically pits a strength against a strength. And I think this arguably might come out on top. Again, as long as you're not looking to break provinces at every turn with these attacks, simply looking to build up advantage with through resolving multiple conflicts a turn. I think this can put this can exert a growing pressure on Scorpion and ultimately lead them in a position where they really can't defend against what this deck is doing, at least the current builds. So yeah, it's fascinating from that point of view. From a deck building point of view, I think decks coming out of this will be playing the maximum number of conflict characters possible, because being able to play a conflict, like a character into a conflict to get off your stronghold ability is going to be critical. So conflict character is going to be huge. I would expect to see the maximum of 10 in all Hisumori Toride decks. You've got Force of the River, which should be a staple. It's it's always like with a card like this, it's always very, very difficult to project just what kind of an impact it's going to have. But I do think that of what we've seen so far, this does seem like a card and it could be a natural predator for Scorpion, which is one of the things that's been sorely missing from the environment. The Scorpion just really don't have any natural predators. They don't have any really bad matchup in Swiss to knock them down, whereas most of the clans have at least one, if not two, and sometimes 3 or 4 if you were old Unicorn. In fact, you had 6. So So yeah, it's a fascinating card. Fascinating to see where this goes. I mean, Unicorn have received such an enormous boost. They are basically unrecognizable from what they were at the start of the cycle. Their 4 slot is completely new. Their 5 slot is going to be completely new because we'll see the regulars a bit later, who are another amazing card. A stronghold which introduces a completely new way of a completely new kind of dynamic into the game in terms of how it activates and what's important to it. Yeah, it's a stunning stronghold, and I just really hope that it does force kind of Scorpion decks and Crab decks to adjust their current builds to take account of it. If this stronghold does that, then it's a huge victory for the design team, I think, because both Scorpion and Crab at the moment are just too efficient at too many things. They're just too good at too many things. And something that forces them to react and adapt would be, honestly, probably for the benefit of the game. Obviously, you don't know what's going to come out of that change if it does come about. But for the time being, I'm really excited to see what Unicorn players do with this.
Right. Baz, welcome to the show. I see you've arrived in time to miss all the good dragon cards.
I know, right? That way I didn't have the opportunity to undersell them like I would have loved to.
Yeah. Anything else to add on Hisumori Shiride?
I love the background, the fact that in the first pack they brought out the line version of it, and in the story they had the line who had claimed this particular village being attacked by the unicorn, and then at the very end of it we see the story move on and the unicorn have taken it. It is a really frustrating thing to try link in articles though, because I have no idea how LCA Day is going to do the text linking for this particular one to differentiate it from the line, but we'll worry about that later.
Yeah. Okay. Next along we have Magistrate Station. So, a Crane clan province with 3 province strength, and it is a fire province. With action, choose an honored character, ready that character. Justin, we've talked a little bit earlier on when we were talking about the last pack about Crane's ability to honor character. Here we're seeing a bit of the power with what they can do with those honor characters.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a really bad cycle for Crane in general. Actually, they really haven't received anything for most of the packs. So it's really nice to see them get something actually really good. So it's got one of the most powerful actions in the game, which is readying a character. That is both a huge economic boost and a huge tempo boost. So it's enormously powerful. With Crane, they'll target honored characters. That makes thematic, mechanical sense for them. The interesting thing about this is that it's province and not a holding. As a holding, this card would probably be absolutely broken. In fact, completely broken. As a province, there is always the chance that it doesn't get flipped up, that your opponent doesn't attack into it. So you don't get during the game. And it's a 3-strength province, so there's always a chance that it's quite easy to break as well, even if it does get flipped early. However, if a Crane player does flip this and successfully defends it, my God, you are in for a world of hurt. Because you will have significantly statted characters because they'll be honored. Just marauding around the place, and of course everybody's favorite character, Guest of Honor, is going to be nothing short of monstrous with this. Absolutely monstrous. So you will have a Guest of Honor who will basically be locking your opponent out of events for half the conflicts in a phase, which is utterly brutal. So obviously, this is a reason that this card can't be better, because Guest of Honor is broken, and that's why having broken cards isn't necessarily a good thing for your clan. But yeah, this card is super, super good. And while a little unreliable, because as I said, there's no guarantee it's going to flip, this card is going to change the course of games when it does get turned over. So yeah, great card. Crane should be very, very happy.
Okay. Andy, I saw you're nodding along there. Any other thoughts on Magistrate Station?
No, I think the guys said it all. It's a fantastic card with one of the strongest actions in the game. Just the inconsistency is the only thing that'll hold it back. But again, if the design team do think it is a good idea to introduce mechanics that allow you to flip cards, flip provinces at will, then this is going to get really, really interesting. And I think Crane have had one of the only cards that flips cards at will. Am I right in that one?
You're still wrong.
It's Unicorn. Unicorn province. She moves. It's the Shigenja that moves cards between provinces.
It's the moves cards between provinces. Okay, sorry, that was my bad. Yeah, okay, fair enough. There's sort of nothing that really flips anything right now, right? Flips anything voluntarily?
Only in Dragon. Oh no, Unicorn. Unicorn have the air province that flips up as an action. You can flip another province.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
My big thing with this particular one, though, is that provinces need to do, in my opinion, one of two things. They need to defend themselves or have an effect on the game. When this gets attacked, it's not defending itself. I think it's going to get broken a lot of the time. And any of the characters that you have bowed and honored, you'll be able to use that for that one character, but then it's gone. So, I mean, it will have an effect, but you're not getting to defend the province, and it's going to be a small one-off if you manage to reach those conditions. So I actually don't like this.
But yeah,
At the
Go
same
on,
time,
Justin.
we could see it. Sorry, we could see a change in how Crane approached the game as well, potentially. There's, what is it called? Is it offhand remark? The courtier action that gives you a ridiculous province strength boost.
Disdainful.
I mean, because like, is it disdainful? Yeah. Anyway, because I mean, like a card like this can completely change the course of the game. If you have this on the board flipped up, it can completely change how a game plays out. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Maybe Crane moved towards including some more defensive actions just to give them an edge in that regard. I mean, Crane really don't have a go-to card for from the restricted list at the moment. So maybe they start splashing Dragon from Miramoto's Fury. That's a really unpleasant proposition. So yeah, I mean, like a card like this is good enough that I think it's worth adapting your deck to make sure you get the most out of it when it does flip up. And it's not like playing 3 Let Go and 3 Miramoto's Fury is exactly like it's not a bad splash. You know, you're not harming yourself by doing that.
Or 3 Hawk Tattoo.
Or Hawk Tattoo. Let us not forget Hawk Tattoo. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I missed all of those
Owen
discussions, so I don't know anything about it. I'm sure it's fine. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I'm sure Owen will have a rant about Hawk Tattoo once we get to Pragmatism anyway.
And the Fire Province slot it seems, you know, not overly competing with too much.
No, you don't give a crap. You don't give a crap about the Fire Province.
Yeah.
It's clearly the best Fire Province Crane have by a country mile. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So next along we have a Water Province for Scorpion, Web of Lies. It is a +X strength province. And X is equal to twice the bid on your honor dial. So, Owen, what are your thoughts on this? There's obviously a bit of tension between bid low Scorpion and bid high Scorpion, and this is a bid high card.
So, some Scorpion like to bid low, some like to bid high. The problem with this is it's just a province strength province. For this one to see play, you've got to be a bid high deck that doesn't have a tank province or wants to play 2 tank provinces for reasons I'm not entirely sure of. Dragon don't have a killer app Earth province. They just go, sure, I'll take the +5 against military, then I'll throw that on the stronghold, and the rest of it is my murderer's row. This one, I mean, you'd have to be in a weird meta where you're bidding high, but you're still losing provinces a lot. Put that on the row. Otherwise, you're putting it on your stronghold, I guess. And hey, maybe you do something cute. Someone goes in and you go, I'll play mirror and I'll basically set my province to 10 strength. And, you know, I guess I don't see the scene play until there's a better Earth province that they really want to play and need a tank province for their stronghold. That's the only scenario where I see it seeing a lot of play, you know? Like the water ones are weakish, but even still, Rally seems better unless you really need a tank one, you know? And the Scorpion have been luxuriating in Seeker of Void for a year now. Maybe they'll have a harsh come down when they actually have to throw water provinces back in their deck. We'll see.
Okay, let's go on. Not sure there's much else we said for Web of Lies. But we'll stick with Eoin because we've got the Sookie Broker, a Crab Clan 4-cost character, 2 military, 3 politics, 2 glory, and a courtier. While this character is participating in a conflict, each character you control gains courtesy and sincerity. Sookie Broker, we spoke a little bit in the last show about the burgeoning weenie deck that might be powered by this card.
Yeah, she is terrible stats. She is a 2-3 for 4 with 2 glory. Those are awful numbers. But she's the second courtier Crab have gotten because Taka, for reasons, doesn't have courtier. And she's got a really interesting effect. With Sookie Broker, if you can manage your conflict orders correctly, you can get her into the 3rd or 4th conflict of the turn, or maybe even the 2nd one. And then you start sacking your bad characters. You throw them away to Funeral Pyre, And when you throw away a Funeral Pyre, you gain 2 fate and draw a card. Sorry, draw 2 cards and gain a fate. If you throw them away and Tack is in play, you get to get 2 fate and 2 cards. If there's so many guys, all of a sudden, Maya Mystic. If you've gone in with Maya Mystic, wham, bowed, whatever, Cooney Lab had others a 2/2, she wasn't nearly as bad as she normally is. I sack her, I discard your attachment, I draw a card, and I gain a fate. That's huge. It's a very different form of crab deck, the going wide deck. And this is the engine that rewards you for going wide. Now, you've got to have tools to throw away people with. You've got to have maybe your Tainted Hero, maybe your Funeral Pyre, maybe just Weight of Crab, maybe the Steadfast Gunso. You need sack effects. But if you can get them off, she's really good. That's a really strong rider, and people even play. Her stats are terrible, but I think she's definitely going to see a good bit of play. She doesn't stack, but that's fine. I can see her playing that deck, playing 27 cheap guys, her, maybe 1 or 2 other expensive guys that enable it, a bunch of holdings, and probably playing Walking the Way to try and get her out a bit faster. So yeah, really good.
Yeah. Justin, Sookie Broker, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love the card. I love the design of this card. One of the things that, one of the kind of the, I don't know, the kind of the design that we've been dealing with up until now has very much been, it feels like 2 guys standing across from each other, just in a wrestling ring, trading overhand blows to each other's head, stabbing backward and forward with nothing really progressing or changing. Just a really, really terrible wrestling match. Whereas Sookie Broker she's like a breath of fresh air. It's a completely new archetype. It's a really exciting, interesting, fun new archetype. I can't say enough good about this card. I don't know whether she's actually any good or whether the archetype is any good, but that doesn't matter, because something this game desperately needs is new ways of playing the game, new archetypes, new ways of approaching the game. From that point of view, she's a 5-star card for me. I love her. I absolutely love this card because of the kind of the design direction and possibilities that she promises. So, whether she's any good, I don't know, or whether that archetype is any good, I don't know. But I just love the design of this card. I absolutely love the design of this card.
Cool. All right, next we're back to Crane, and we have the Tengu Sensei. 5-cost character with 4 military, 2 politics, 2 glory, Ushi, creature, and duelist. It has covert, and reaction after this character chooses a character using covert. That character cannot be declared as an attacker this phase. So Baz, Crane have got another duelist. More bird-like maybe than they expected, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, at 5 cost, you're essentially looking at a new clan champion, which is a bit weird. And this is military at 4 rather than political, which is again a divergence from the normal Crane wave things. But that covert and that the ability it has is absolutely fantastic. So one of the nice things with the various clans is they often favor one side, and because of that, either military or political, because of that, cards that go down the opposite direction are particularly favorable. So in this case, having a Crane character with a decent amount of strength is good for Crane. That it's covert is great, and the fact that it's going to be attacking into a military conflict a lot of the time, coverting a character out of that military conflict, which means they can't defend in that conflict, then they're not attacking in military or political because of the ability, which means the only conflict that they have an option in is to assign it a defender against a political conflict. And with the political conflict, Crane obviously are going to have the advantage and should be able to wreck whatever that poor character is, especially if it's a character who cannot assign to a political conflict. But 5 costs for all of this. Yeah, I think I can see it. I mean, the combination of covert and the ability almost kill the character every turn. And from that perspective, I think this is a fantastic character.
Yeah. Andy, What are your thoughts
Well,
on the value?
thank God we've got cards like Cloud the Mind, eh? No, I think it's a great card. The only letdown sort of is that there are very few cards, very few non-unique cards you can buy for 5. But there are a couple of really powerful effects that exist in the game that only target non-unique cards, and that's sort of if they continue on that trend in design, that could get kind of dicey for the Tengu Sensei. The other thing about him is, Cloud the Mind is going to make him a very overcosted, very understated character. But in situations where he is effective and you do get to use covert on a person, my God, what a horrifying prospect having two of these across the board from you. Geez, you're just locking out an entire board, like anything meaningful. And if you're then talking about playing against either Lion or Unicorn with their new strongholds, this is locking somebody out of potentially 2 to 3 conflicts, 2 to 3 military, or 3 conflicts in total. You're just completely ruining ruining somebody's day with this guy.
Yep. Okay. So next along we have Gastric Shinsen, a unique Dragon Clan 3-cost character, 1 military, 2 politics, 2 glory, a fire Shugenja. Action: during a conflict, return 1 or more rings you've claimed, the unclaimed ring pool. Choose a character you control. Search your conflict deck for an attachment with printed cost equal to or lower than the number of rings returned, and attach it to that character and shuffle. So Baz, I haven't seen a lot of sort of tutoring type effects in the game, but this is actually quite a powerful one, but with a high cost. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so like looking at the stats, the first thing you do is you compare it to the Agacha Swordsmith. The Agacha Swordsmith looks at the top 5 cards. You pick an attachment and you stick it in your hand. So it's quite similar in many ways. The Agacha Swordsmith is 1 cheaper at only 2, and doesn't have this cost requiring the rings. The ring aspect is super interesting. So it is a conflict action only, and you must have at least 1 claimed ring already. So you're going to have to win a conflict, then get into another conflict before you can actually use the ability. When you use that ability, you're able to go through your deck and pull out any attachment in there that you have that has a cost of the number of rings you return or less. So you can go through for 0 cost. Typically, you'll go through for a 1 cost, maybe a 2 cost a lot of the time. When you're doing this, you're essentially giving up the Imperial favor. If you manage to get rings enough that you can afford to give them away, chances are you don't really care about Censure, you don't really care about Agacha Sumiko, and both of those have been kind of key fundamental cards for Dragon decks for quite a while now. Censure specifically has been one of the lifesavers against Fate Worse Than Death, which does some really, really nasty things to the tower decks. That said, this is a tutor. You're going through your deck, you're pulling something out. Like this is a really, really fantastic ability. So like the question I've heard a lot of people, Dragon players say is, what do we cut? Do we have room for it? We'll have to give up all these things. And Dragon will. But if we are able to get off of Censure and engage with this ability, which does as a nice bonus, does let you attack with the same ring twice. So you claim it once, then bounce it back, then attack with it again. I think this is a fantastic card, and I think as you kind of get a few more attachments that are kind of Silver Bullet-esque, so you can put 1 or 2 in there and then just fetch out the right one when you need to. Obviously, you can't do it with Cloud of Mind or Hawk Tattoo or anything that hits an opposing character, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I think this is a really, really good card that may not see play, but probably should.
Interesting. Okay. Next up, we have the Kazoo Warrior. So this is a Lion Clan 4-cost character. It's 2 military, 2 politics, 0 glory, Bushi, and creature. For each military ring that's claimed, this character gets +2 military. Each politics ring that's claimed, this character gets +2 politics. Andy, your review you'd some thoughts. Do you want to share them?
I had some thoughts. I slammed this card in the written review, and I see one very apt name for this coming from Blue Sapphire in the chat. It's Garbo Catman. Garbo Catman this card will forever be Garbo Catman for me. Like, the one thing I will say is that this card, we had what was his name? Beastmaster Matriarch before this card. Beastmaster Matriarch was a worse version of this card. And it's still terrible. It's still a terrible, terrible, terrible card. This is just like Lion needed something. They did not need the 3rd out of 4 worst statted 4-cost characters in the game. We have 3 out of 4 of these characters. Now, okay, I said it in the article. Honor General is actually like really, really good. But we have 2. We've Akuma AG and we've now Kazoo Warrior, and there's 1 Scorpion character that's a 1/3 for 4. And oh my god, like, why do we keep getting 4-cost characters with 4 stats? 4 printed stats. This card is A friend of mine was talking about this card, a good friend, Timothy Wells, and I think he said this was probably the reason why the Kitsu went extinct. This card is just so bad, and it's just there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for this card. I'm sorry. There's no defending it.
Justin, do you want to rush the defense of Kazoo Warrior?
Oh God, no. I'm glad they are extinct. It's a terrible card. It's a 4-cost 2/2, so already you're putting yourself in an absolutely unspeakable tempo hole by playing this card. And after that, you have to wait and wait and wait throughout the entire turn for people to claim rings, for this guy to get any good at all. And that's never going to happen. Because three conflicts before he's actually properly statted for his cost, even, like above average statted for his cost. Yeah, absolutely. And at that stage, you've probably lost the game because you haven't committed a 4-cost character to anything. So you've probably lost 2 provinces. And even then, he's just a single character who can be, relatively easily dealt with. And dear God, like if this guy gets Cloud, if Cloud the Mind lands on this guy, you're just going to want to kill him. You're just going to want to kill yourself. It's just, we gave Yoritomo a bit of a reading for being crap with Cloud the Mind. Man, Yoritomo is a champion. I mean, he is a champion, but Yoritomo's a monster compared to this guy. It's an awful card. It's an awful card. And so, I just don't know what designer thinking.
We should note that when the Beastmaster Matriarch came out, we did get a little bit of feedback saying that we had forgotten about multiplayer. We didn't consider that. Beastmaster Matriarch is on the banned list from multiplayer. So what the hell are they doing with this?
It's line character.
Presumably they're
this one's for multiplayer.
Yeah, why don't they shaft
opening up
any
their
other clan's multiplayer cards? What the actual fuck are they thinking? I'm sorry for the I dropped another one. Two in one show.
Yeah, the 2 shows.
We're gonna get demonetized. Yeah.
It just boggles the mind. I don't know what's going on here. It's
Okay.
just awful. I feel desperately sorry for Lion. Their design direction is utterly fractured.
So discouraged.
If it was the other way around, and that for every military ring that was claimed you got political, or vice versa, that might at least make some sense. Anyway, yeah.
No, it wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. It would still be a terrible card.
That would make a bit more sense because then you can go.
No, damn it, Justin! I'm angry. I want to stay
Lion, and then he'd be a 4 political guy. Then he'd be a 4 political guy that you could power up from military conflicts, which would actually be a way better card. That would make sense. As it stands, holy shitballs. No, it's just, but can we move on, please?
Yeah.
All right, let's try Reader of Omens, a Phoenix clan. Justin wanted us to move on, so we're giving Justin Reader of Omens a 2-cost, 2/0, 1 glory.
Thanks.
Shigenja Void. This card gets +3 politics when you've claimed the air or void rings.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, like this. I just said like this card would not make it in. Like it doesn't make it into any Phoenix archetype whatsoever. Like a 2/0 for 2 is ridiculous. If you pull off if you get the Air Void Ring, it then becomes a 2/3. Even as if it was printed as a 2/3, it would not make it into any Phoenix deck at the moment. Still better than a Kitsu. Still better than a Kitsu by a country mile better than a Kitsu. But the card is just it does nothing. It's bland. It's boring. It's just no. There's nothing to say about it. There's literally nothing to say about it.
Okay. Well, we know Justin likes to undersell the really good Phoenix cards. So.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Clearly posted.
This is the one that turns it around for us. Phoenix Tier 1.
Okay, let's try something that may actually see some play. We've got a Reclusive Zokujin, a Scorpion Clan 3-cost character, a 3 military, 1 politics, and it is Scorpion's creature to the sort of creature theme. It's got 1 glory, and during Earth conflicts, this character gains covert and is immune to enemy card effects. Eoin, the Reclusive Zokujin.
So the creature cycle in this one has kind of gone from the ridiculous, which is the Kitsu, to the sublime. This card's a monster. It's a 3-cost 3/1. That's a little understated, but it's critically it's off-stated for Scorpion. Scorpion are usually their usual guys are high politics, low military. This guy's high military, low politics. He's 1 glory, not ideal, no relevant traits, but during Earth conflicts, which is Earth is one of the best rings. It's one of the rings you can always sure, I can always go for Earth. During Earth conflicts, this character gains covert and is immune to enemy card effects. That's insane. That's like going, well, normally a covert guy, you'll struggle to get 3 their attacking stat, like they might have it sometimes, but this is huge. And he's immune to enemy card effects. He's just an opportunity for advantage for Scorpion. Scorpion are always banging on about, we got to play enough courtiers. I want to put some more courtiers in. I don't know if I can fit this guy in, not a courtier. This guy's going to go on all their decks. Because he's just amazing. He offers them something they don't have, a cheap, goods, high-strength military guy who's a great attacker. Even if you go, I'm going to attack Earth against you, he can just block. Because you can't covert him out of the way because he's got covert. He is super good. He is like incredible quality card. Another card for Scorpion there you go, well, that's one of the best cards in the cycle. It's just crazy. That's the only way it could have been better.
He's a massive case for Scorpion going Keeper of Earth. To support that great Keeper of Earth deck that they're going to have, that Shinobi Keeper of Earth deck.
Honorary Ninja. All he needs is a black gi and a face mask, and he's in there. Boom. Which would have made the artwork way more 5 rings.
Oh my god! If they gave him like a ninja cowl or something,
that's what he needs. Then he'd be amazing. I'd love him then. As it stands, didn't Lion have the Zokujin in the old game?
Yeah.
The Lion thing, weren't they? So the Scorpion have stolen that as well.
I mean, they can have the Kitsu. Why did they take the Zokujin? Why don't they just take the Kitsu, lock, stock, and barrel?
All right. So next long we have the Minami Kaze Regulars, the 5-cost Unicorn Clan character, 6 military, 3 politics, Bushi Army Cavalry with 2 glory, no attachments except weapon, and reaction after this character wins a conflict in which you have more participating characters than your opponent, gain 1 fate and draw 1 card. So Baz, this obviously plays into the outnumbered mechanic, even though they themselves are pretty big and chunky. What are your thoughts?
Well, now we know what Unicorn are going to be doing, which is going to be going over taking military provinces, or not necessarily taking provinces, but outnumbering and winning those conflicts. They play this and they get 1 fate and a card every time they do it. That's pretty cool. But I mean, it really is just a giant block of stats, really. The no attachments except weapons does protect it from Cloud the Mind. I'm not really sure what other attachments Unicorn would often be playing. Obviously, you got the obvious Talisman and Spyglass, but they should have plenty of other targets for that. No, this is like once you get into play, after you win your first conflict, they're a 4-cost 6/3 where you've managed to draw a card. And then everything after that is just icing. So yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic card. I expect to see lots of them.
Yeah. Justin, new clan champion, you think, pushing out Ultron Surnai from decks?
Yeah, absolutely. This card is fantastic. And again, you compare it to the Matsu 7th Legion, and this card is just vastly better. The only thing, I mean, obviously, you're not intended to actually pay for Matsu 7th Legion under any conditions. That is a card you cheat into play, except on turns where it's just the way the turn works out, and it's just the best play. But that's going to be rare enough. Whereas these guys are a perfectly legitimate 5-cost play. Like, I would be more than happy to pay 5 for these guys most times. If they get their ability off once, they're effectively a 4-cost 6/3 that draws you a card. If they get it off more than once, then you are laughing in value. You can charge them in, they'll replace the charge, and they'll replace the fate, so they come in for free on a charge. They're just superb. Like the one knock against them is the fact that they're non-unique, which means they are vulnerable to some effects which are becoming a bit more prevalent in the environment. Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing. I would say they're probably Unicorn's best 5-cost character right now. Like Juro's good, but not that good, and Altan Sornai has never been particularly impressive. And these guys, for the same cost, have a better skill split than Altan Sornai for what Unicorn want to do. They're crushing in military conflicts. They're still all right in political conflicts, but you also have a captive audience to turn political conflicts into military conflicts. So yeah, they're fantastic. Really, really super card.
Great. Next up, we've got Montes Tank, a 2-cost neutral character with 1 military and 2 politics. Shigenja, Water, and Mantis Clan. They've got 2 glory, and they are water rule only. With the interrupt, when you play an event, lose 1 honor, reduce the cost of that event by 1. Andy, our former Mantis player, what are your thoughts on the Tenkinja?
I really like the Tenkinja. I think she's super good. All right stats. I mean, and the reactor, the interrupt, is really, really nice. I mean, if you're going to play this, Unicorn have access to this straight off the bat, and it means you're going to be playing against the waves for free. You're going to be playing, basically any 1-cost spell. You're now getting it for free, which is huge. I really, really like her. She's super good. I think Justin would probably have more to say about her than I would, but free spells are free, and free spells are really, really cool.
Yeah, Justin, this is obviously a water roll card.
Yeah, absolutely. She's good. She's definitely good. She might make it into Phoenix decks. I'm not sure. Phoenix Dynasty deck slots are unbelievably competitive at the moment. But regardless, in the early turns, she's absolutely immense. Like as the game goes on and the amount of fate and resources accumulate throughout the game, her impact lessens. But on turn 1, there's 15 fate total in the game, and she produces a fate. That's a significant percentage of the total fate in the entire game. So she's immense on early turns when options are severely limited. But yeah, she's very, very good. Not sure whether she'll make it into Phoenix decks, but she could, and that says an awful lot because the 2-cost slot, and just as I said, slots in general in Phoenix are super competitive right now.
Is there Baz maybe for you? Is there a clan that would really benefit from this character if they got the water roll? Scorpion maybe?
Unicorn. Unicorn for sure, I'd say.
To be honest, I think
Unicorn.
Like if you think about it, if you manage to activate this the first turn, all of a sudden you've got a 1-cost 1/2 Shigenja. That's probably decent. Every extra fate that you're putting on this character, though, is going to keep her around a little bit longer, but does let you use the ability one extra time. So if you're willing to overinvest on this character, you're going to get the discounts on it later.
If you overinvest, though, Assassinate becomes pretty juicy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So no, honestly, I don't think this is actually going to see play, except for those diehard players who are just going to cram as many Mantis cards into a deck as they can and then try work out what to do afterwards, which is, from that perspective, a little disappointing. It's a water roll only. The fact that any of them were locked at all was a bit disappointing. So no, I honestly don't see this seeing much play, if any. Maybe at, if it was the first pack in Imperial, you'd see it in a lot of decks. But no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
go on.
Crab, if we got water player. We don't have many Shigenja. A little bit of cost reduction we're fine with. We can bid low anyway. For the weenie deck, if we got water, we'd strongly consider her.
All right. Next, we've got another neutral, Awakened Tsukumogami, a 2-cost character, 1 military, 1 politics, 0 glory, a void spirit, and it's void roll only. You may use the fate on a ring to pay the cost of a conflict card that has a trait that matches an element of that ring. Buzz, the Awakened Tsukumogami. How good do you think that ability is?
Not very. I mean, Justin went to the trouble of collating the large list of cards where it actually is going to be relevant. And from what I recall, I'm just trying to bring it up here, it really comes down to Phoenix play, not much else.
Yeah, and Phoenix don't play it. It's a terrible card. It's a terrible card. It will never repay the investment. Just no.
And for it to be elemental locked as well makes it really difficult, because you have to have the right combination of cards to actually link off it. You've got to play the character, which we've seen 2-cost 1/1s before, and they don't see play. So yeah, no. I don't even think the art is cute. Justin does, but I don't.
A couple people saying like it's at some point some combination will
Cyclops Cthulhu. God damn it, Baz. Sorry, Colm, go ahead.
Just a couple people saying that there may come a time when this card gets broken just by some particular combination, because it's not once per turn, and
yeah, the unlimited nature of the card. Yeah, it could be.
Actually, I'll tell you what. I will tell you what. The card that could break this, along with so many other cards, is
Oracle
Gerogen's.
No. Gerogen's Curse.
Gerogen's Curse and Being and Becoming. That's a possibility. We'll get to Being and Becoming later, and which is a card that, along with Gerogen's Curse, just makes a complete mockery of how they've been roll-locking other cards.
We'll get to it, but it sounds a rather elaborate.
It sounds super
combo
elaborate
that doesn't do anything.
They can get assassinated. Basically, we'll get to it later. Gerogen's Curse and Being and Becoming can set up a combo where that character will remain on the board indefinitely, generating a huge amount of fate on all the rings, and then potentially with this guy, you could lift all the fate off those rings, playing all the infinite cards you apparently have in hand. I don't know, but yeah. So I mean, that would work. That's it. Like outside of a corner case 3-card combo that somehow doesn't get assassinated or clouded or something like that. Yeah, it's just a garbage card.
But thank God all of the Dragon players voted for Keeper of Water to make sure the Phoenix wouldn't be able to play this card.
Rubes. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, but anyway, we'll get to that.
We will get to that.
Okay.
Move on.
Next, we've got Pragmatism. It's 1-cost Crab Clan attachment, +1/+1, a condition that you attach to a character you control. While you are less honorable than an opponent, the attached character gets +1 military, +1 politics, and gains. This character cannot be honored or dishonored. 1 influence cost. Owen.
So in the 1 cost +1/+1 slot, you've got Watch Commander. Watch Commander sits comfortably in decks. I don't see this forcing a Watch Commander. I don't know how much Crab care about not being able to be honored or dishonored and being slightly bigger in certain circumstances. Most of the time, if you want +2 to a stat, because you can't use both of them at the same time, you're better off with a fan or a katana. The immunity to dishonor or honoring, it's not terrible, but it's going to struggle to get into decks. I think there's better cards. You'll find better cards consistently. I don't see it. Now, one point I do want to raise, to compare this to Hawk Tattoo for a second. This card
what?
to a character you control. For future reference, boys and girls, that is the difference between neglect and abuse.
That's what I edited out of the article. It's just, yeah. I think whenever you say let's compare this card to Hawk Tattoo,
you're setting yourself up.
We're going down a dark road.
Yeah, but it does make you wonder what the hell is going through their heads.
When you compare this card to the Kazoo Warrior.
Oh, Jesus, Andy, let it go. Christ.
He's better. It's better than Kazoo Warrior. It might see a little bit of play. If maybe some other clan is like, well, I really don't want my guy's super high glory and I don't want him to get honored or dishonored and I'm planning on being on less honor. It's a lot of conditionals.
Oh my god, this is amazing with the librarian, with the Imperial Librarian.
Well, this is something that you... Oh, yeah, that's interesting. But this is something that you can drop on Shiba Sukune.
Not. What am I saying?
So honor of Shiba Sukune and then drop Pragmatism on her. Then they have to destroy the Pragmatism before they can remove the honored effect.
Just to clarify for chat, I'm not comparing it to Hawk Tattoo in terms of power. I'm saying Hawk doesn't have that text attached to a character you control. Yeah. And it should have that text.
Probably should have, yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely should have.
Okay.
Which again, as I said, it just makes you wonder what the hell they're doing.
A bit of lazy design. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
lazy.
No, or
like,
intentional.
Yeah.
If it's intentional though, it's that's almost unforgivable.
I mean, we've all played in environments where Harpoon existed and was a prominent feature before, but not in a place where Harpoon was possible for every single clan and playable in every single deck.
Well, look, maybe it's not going to have the effect we're thinking about. Maybe at Gen Con, no one will be playing Hawk Tattoo and it won't be splashed everywhere. And then this whole thing will just wash over. It's a totally fine card. Don't worry about it. Let's move on.
All right. So next we have
step back, everybody.
Specialized defenses. Crab
this
Can.
Pack, man. This pack.
A Crab Can 0 cost
pack.
event.
It is a bad pack.
It is Earth Roll only. Action during a conflict. If the attack province has an element that matches the contested ring or a ring in your claimed ring pool, double that province's strength until the end of the conflict. 1 influence.
Holy shit.
Oh.
What are we doing here? Like, honestly, what are we doing? Why are we... If we're using earth locking, fire locking, if these things are to be a useful concept, they should be going, we're going to silo this powerful mechanical effect into a single elemental characteristic so that we know that you can't combo this fire effect and this void effect. I can't get 2 discard effects or something. I can't discard 2 of your cards in the same deck. That's the only way that theory works. If you're just taking a card and going, let's just slap Earth Roll on it. Is that meant to be an incentive for Crab to pick Earth Roll? This dire, super restricted card? Because when you look at the thing, it's like, in a blue moon, when you just so happen to have a ring as the same elemental type as your opponent's attacking, or he's picked the same element, like, God, what's going on? What are we doing? Like, what is this meant to do? It's meant to pump your province strength once in a blue moon. No one's got a space for an effect like that. No one's picking an earth roll for an effect like that. It's got to have a solid, reliable effect and then a better rider when something actually happens. What's going on? Serious.
Justin, are you muted?
Yeah, I am again. Sorry. Yeah, I think they're just trying to set up, a serious scorpion crab rivalry for the Earth roll. That's the only possible explanation.
I think Andy's dying over there.
Yeah, breathe, Andy.
Oh, now I know how you felt when I was when I was talking about Kazoo Warrior. I think they had the same designer.
All right, let's spend no more time and go to something possibly that might see some play. We've got Mantra of Earth, a 0-cost Dragon Clan event, a Kehoe with the Earth trait, and 2 influence cost. Reaction: after an opponent declares an Earth conflict, choose a monk character or a character with a monk attachment. Until the end of the conflict, opponent's card effects cannot target that character. Draw 1 card. Baz, how's Mantra of Earth?
Yeah, so Mantra of Earth's a fine card. It'll see play, it'll be in decks. None of the mantras are good, though. People will play it because the mantras are fun. You can pop these effects out and kind of cycle your way through the deck. The Mantra of Fire and Mantra of Water are the ones already out. Mantra of Fire is basically the exact same triggering condition, except it needs to be declaring the fire ring, and you'll get +1 fate. So it's a lot more usable than Mantra of Earth, because in the Mantra of Earth, you don't always know what's in your opponent's hand. You can't guarantee that they actually have anything they're going to play. And if they do have something worthwhile playing, they can just play it in the next conflict. So while the effect is useful, it's highly situational, and it's not always obvious whether you should do it or not. So, I mean, a lot of the time you're just going to draw the card is going to be your real effect. Problem with the mantras is they stick in your hand and they don't do anything. So you really need to find a way of actually getting them triggered in the first place. Tadakatsu tends to be the answer to that, but he's a 2-edged sword. I've had a lot of trouble playing against Phoenix with him, where they're like, okay, well, you're declaring water this time. Now all of my water effects are going to trigger. Awesome. So it isn't always great. So yeah, this suffers from pretty much the same as all the mantras do, and the effects, because it's a kind of a hidden effect, you're never really going to know whether you want it or not. It doesn't cancel an action. It preemptively stops something, but only for a single conflict. Yeah, so people will play it just because it's a mantra that's fun, but it's not a good card. What's happening in chat, Andy? Fill me in.
Oh, sorry, just Owen, just continuing.
So yeah, it'll see play. It'll be fun, but it's not a good card. None of the mantras are, not really.
All right. Let's try another dragon card then. Being and Becoming, a 2-cost attachment, +1/+1, a condition with void roll only attached to a character you control. Action: bow the attached character, choose an unclaimed ring, move each fate from that ring to the attached character. 2 influence cost. Baz.
So at the risk of triggering Owen, if this didn't say attached to a character you control, what could you do with it? Because you can't bow the attached character if it's not yours, because you can't bow your opponent's cards to fulfill your costs. So there's no reason to have it on this. They just decided to put it on, just to clarify, make things easier for people.
Maybe it snuck off the two and got on this.
Oh, that could be it.
A copy-paste mistake, yeah.
All right, let's look at the card itself.
Octa 2 is also supposed to be void roll locked, maybe.
Would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense. Okay, so for 2 face, you're getting +1/+1, but that's not really what you're here for. You're going to bow your character, which is essentially taking them out for a full turn a lot of time. Obviously, there are straighten effects, but a lot of time this is just going to take that character out. When you do so, you're moving fate from one of the rings onto that character. So if you're, for example, taking 1 fate, you're giving up this turn, so you have that character for the next turn. If you're taking 2 fate, you're giving up this turn, so you have them for the next 2 turns after that. reality is, if you made a character, you had the option to put some fate on them. Obviously, fate's tight. You don't have the opportunity all the time. But if you're getting to turn 2 or turn 3 with the character you made turn 1, and then you're dropping being and becoming, how long do you think this game is going on for? Like that's talking about 5 or 6 before that's actually useful. So yeah, I mean, if it was cheaper, if there were cost reductions, this might be a really good one to play with Shinsen, where you can play it for free, but you're still banning a character, so you're still losing an entire turn just to get a little bit of fate on that character for later. So, I mean, there certainly will be uses, and I'm going to let Justin talk about one of those uses soon. It is a way to keep characters around. It is something that you can do on a character that has stayed unbound to keep the favor, or a character that, like Knit and Master, where you straighten them an extra time at the end of the conflicts. But it's going to be pretty niche and pretty combo, and I'm not quite sure why they've added it into the set.
So, Justin, do you want to walk us through this and the interaction with Georgian's Curse?
Yeah, so at the risk of triggering Owen, when he was talking about things being void locked, so you couldn't combine, effect A with effect B to create something potentially monstrous. Well, this is void roll only, and Georgian's Curse is void roll only. So, hang on, I should have called up Georgian's Curse ahead of this.
I've got it up here.
So you've got it there? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so the combo with this is as follows, and it relies on the fact that there is an action step basically at the end of the fate phase, after fate has been removed from things. Okay, so what you need is you need a character that has Georgian's Curse and Being and Becoming on it. So you resolve the first fate phase with Georgian's Curse. You then resolve the second fate phase with Georgian's Curse. Now all rings are going to have 2 fate on them because you resolved 2 fate phases. All unclaimed rings are going to have 2 fate on them. So you then, at that point, bow your character with Being or Becoming to move the fate from the ring onto that character. The turn ends, you straighten that character, and Georgian's Curse and that character are on the board forever. And every single turn will be a double fate phase. So if you don't have any ways of dealing with attachments, you are locked into that situation for the rest of the game, and this character will be on the board forever, and there's nothing you can do.
Nice.
So I think we can up this slightly. Okay, so your opponent attacks. They are attacking into your province, appealing to the fortunes, which is void locked, obviously. And when it breaks, you put a character into play from one of your provinces in your hand. That character, of course, is the awakened Tsukumogami, who's also void roll only, comes into play at the end after the last conflict's been declared. And then you use the ring from the void, or the fate from the void ring, to drop in the Being and Becoming, drop your Georgian's Curse, game winning.
How does the deck actually win?
Oh, well, its last province is Massing and Twilight. No one can take it. That's the idea.
Ah, okay.
I think that's all the void block cards.
Actually, you could also do it so that if you put the Phoenix spell Embrace the Void onto the Sukuraku whatever he's called, you're just siphoning all the fate into your fate pool at the same time.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be siphoning all of it because the fate phases would be happening consecutively, so you get one of it, but you'd still be gaining fate every single turn. Of course, you could stick 2 of them on it.
Yeah.
And like if it's on K Day, for example, in Phoenix, then your opponent can literally do really almost nothing. She can't be targeted by fate. I mean, obviously, yeah, there are card effects to do it, but I mean, the point is that there is a combo out there that is in void. That means players will be facing a double fate phase every single turn, which means it is basically impossible to keep anything on the board. And that is that a place where we want the game to be? I'm not sure. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Well,
but
more
it's potentially horrifying.
I'm not sure if that's even worth playing. To be honest, like I have to test it and see, because you know you're stripping all your own stuff at the same time. However, they did put both cards in the same cycle, both void locked. There's no way that they didn't think that this was an interaction. Well, maybe they did, but you know, to be generous to them, this had to have been something intentional that they're introducing to a game for a specific reason. It is going to be either Phoenix or Dragon, because you have to have the combined card, so only one of them is going to be able to play it. Or, well, whichever of them is going to be void is going to be able to play it, and the other isn't. No, right. Both can. Seeker and Keeper. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Let's move on then to Restored Heirloom. A 2-cost attachment with +3 military, +0 politics. A weapon, it's Lion Clan and water roll only, and restricted. Interrupt. When you would resolve the water ring effect, choose a character you control. Instead of resolving normal ring effects, put this attachment into play from your hand or conflict discard pile attached to that character, and 1 influence cost. Andy.
Yeah, this one makes no sense in line, to be honest. Not from the games I've been playing with Hisumura Torita. You want to be claiming the water ring to straighten guys so you can declare them in more conflicts. You don't want to be wasting the water ring effect to make a single guy that you will no longer be able to use even bigger when you have insane amounts of force pumps anyway in your deck. So this is completely redundant in line. It's just, if it was if it was after you resolve the water ring, amazing card. Be a super, super good card. And attach it to a lion personality just so that doesn't, or, can only be attached to your cards. I don't know. But the thing is, I think it's actually a really nice Phoenix card, because Phoenix want to be attacking the water ring really early with, what's the 3/3 amazing Prodigy of the Waves. Prodigy of the Waves is a seriously great card, and you want to have the water ring resolved possibly as early as possible. And you could be getting free cards like Fire Tensei Initiate, who, with this then attached, would pose a legitimate threat on provinces straight off the bat. I mean, you're looking at getting massive amounts of tempo with this. And I think that's really the only niche that this card fits in.
Justin, is that something you think works for Phoenix?
Yeah, it absolutely could, actually. It really could. The Lion Splash, I mean, obviously, like Phoenix are basically locked into Dragon Splash because of Let Go. But if you were running a Lion Splash, then I really do think this card would have a place for Phoenix at the moment. I could definitely see myself playing this. You're going water almost every single turn. Recursion into play is fantastic, especially if you're the first player, because frequently there simply won't be a worthwhile target on your side of the board to straighten. And sometimes there won't be a target on their side of the board to bow. So, yeah, I do think it would make it in.
Okay, we'll stick with Phoenix. We've got Roving Michibiku, 3-cost character, 2 military, 2 politics, 1 glory, a monk and a scholar. Reaction: after this character wins a conflict, take a ring from the defending player's claimed ring pool. And this has 2 influence cost. So, not content with just sort of claiming rings themselves, the Phoenix clan are now thieving them from other people.
That's it. Bunch of magpies. Yeah, it's fine. It's a card that kind of falls into the same kind of subset of cards that Secluded Shrine is in, that interacts with, again, another subset of Phoenix cards. Things like Henshin Disciple, the Ishikan Initiate, Katana of Fire, those kind of cards. Solemn Scholar, potentially as well. Yeah, there's a limited number of cards that this interacts positively with on the Phoenix side of the board, and most of those don't even see play in most Phoenix decks. So what you're really playing this guy for in that case is control of the Imperial Favor, because taking a ring from someone and putting it into your own pool, that's a 2-point swing for the Imperial Favor, which should in most cases be enough to make sure that you get it. If you didn't already have other ways of doing so in Phoenix with High Glory and so on. So it's Yeah, it's fine. You know, it's a 3-cost 2/2 with 1 glory. It doesn't. I mean, it's a scholar, so it could work with Bustling Academy. Probably not. It's a monk, which really has no support. Which really may as well be blank in Phoenix at the moment. We have no noteworthy support.
Hawk tattoo.
Nothing. It does. Yeah, no. And nothing we'd really splash in from Dragon to support it either, because there are just better non kind of monk supporting cards to splash in. So it's really underwhelming, to be honest. Situationally pretty decent, I suppose, but those situations are going to be so rare that it's just not worth playing.
Okay. And then we have another Phoenix card. We have Taru GI, 0-cost event. Action during a conflict, choose a Shigenja character you control and Shigenja character controlled by an opponent. Your character challenges your opponent's character to a glory duel. The winner of the duel's controller resolves a ring effect of his or her choice as if he or she was the attacking player. That has 1 influence. Justin, Shigenja duels, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, again, it's not a good card. You're pretty much forced to play this out of a Sawamori Seido, because glory is a much flatter stat than military or political skill. So the highest glory for a Shigenja in the game is 3, and that would be a Sawakede and Asako Azunami. So even
Togashi Yakuni.
Oh, Yakuni, yeah, but okay. Well, in fairness, and Togashi Yakuni. I'm sorry, Baz, and Togashi Yakuni also. But anyway, it's 3. So so in even if you're facing off against a 0 glory Shigenja, there is still a chance you could lose the duel, which means you are effectively kind of unless you're prepared to play the mind games, you're kind of committing yourself to bidding 3. So is giving your opponent 2 honor worth resolving a ring effect? Maybe, could be.
It could be air.
Could be air. It could indeed be air. In which case, you've only cost yourself a card. That's an amazing. It's an amazing deal. So really, you're looking at playing this out of a Sawamori Seido to pump your glory to make sure that you're getting the win as easily as possible. But you also have to be facing an opponent who is playing Shigenja, and those Shigenja probably also have to be 0 glory to make this playable. And all of a sudden, the list of conditions on playing this card just starts to stretch out. And I mean, the payoff, resolving a ring, is super good. Too many conditions. You have to play it out of stronghold that is just not good anymore, or at least it's not as good as Kyuden Sawa. So it's just got no home. It's a card that would probably fit directly into a Dishonor deck. Dishonor deck, basically. The Phoenix Dishonor decks are an absolute shambles. There are 4 different traits. You've got Bushi, Monk, Shigenja, Courtier, all vying for position in that deck. The deck is completely unfocused. It's a shambles, and this is another card to throw in on top of that shambles. It just doesn't have a home. Kind of cool, but no good.
I, in contrast, really, really like this. So there's 2 ways to duel. One is the bully duel, which is what Justin's talking about, where you're 100% sure and confident that you can bid 1, and no matter what your opponent bids, you will win. This is intentionally designed to not really be bullyable. There are a couple of ways to do it, but a lot of the time you're going to be just ahead by 1, and if your opponent wants to burn a bunch of honor, they can. And then they get to see, how committed to it you were. This is a duel that you can win a lot of time, even just being that 1 ahead. It just makes it a little bit dicier, and you have to be willing to lose a bit of honor to guarantee the duel effect will go through. Getting an opposing Shigenja honestly isn't that hard. This cycle has been rife with Shigenja. As I'm sure the line will tell you, Cloud the Mind is super important, and anyone who wasn't playing it before now has a couple of extra Shigenja that they can squeeze it in with. So I do think the targets are going to be out there. Being able to resolve a water is a big deal. Earth, maybe. Not so sure about that. I think the big one is really going to be water, especially if you can get that new elemental master. That would be a pretty...
She's not very good, though. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if she was in play,
she looks way better than she is. She's not very good at all.
Didn't test her well.
But I mean, the thing is, yeah, I have. Yeah, she's fine. But I mean, the thing is, like, then you're playing this in a tempo deck, and this has no place in a tempo deck.
Mm.
So, like, the place, like, it has no place in a tempo deck. So then you're pretty much into playing it in a Dishonor deck, and like it doesn't fit in the Dishonor deck either. So
I think it might just be.
And Dave, you're completely wrong. Like, I mean, like, Asako Azunami is fine. She's decent, but she's not a patch on Kade or Tadaka. She's just grand, and as she's only grand, so she's never going to beat those two out. So no, you're absolutely wrong, and you don't know what you're talking about. Make this switch. Anyway, yeah, and like this, I mean, this is a fine card. It just doesn't have a home.
I think it has. I always look at duels. And think there could be a home for this in an honor deck, because it's just one more time when you could get to play Way of the Chrysanthemum for a decent amount of honor. I'm sorry.
Oh, and you're going to chip in there?
I'm with Kage. Right? If you got Kage out and line up 1 or 2 more ships, that could actually be a good cut.
Yeah, but if you're using it for the duel, you're not using it for the card draw.
Yeah, but that's fine. Because you just go, I've got Kage out, cool. I didn't use them on my thing, grand. No, Taro GI. I was like, okay, I'm going to get another air ring because I'm playing for honor, and I want to get air off. So I do that, and you either give me honor, or I go, yeah, I'm going to get air off.
I mean, you don't need to be in the conflict, right? So you could be telegraphing it in there. You could be like projecting it in there with your Kitsu Spirit Callers.
Look, guys, this dueling shit isn't that hard. You just turn up and stab the guy repeatedly in the face. You just need to have a slightly sharper blade. That's all it is.
Or a better reputation, as this card would imply.
Yeah.
Okay, and then our very final card of the Elemental Cycle is Unleash the Djinn. A unicorn card, 0 cost event, spell, fire, Maishodo, fire roll only, action. During a conflict, lose 3 honor, set the military and political skill of each participating character to 3 at the end of the conflict. And it has 3 influence costs. Owen, what are your thoughts on Unleash the Djinn?
Well, Unicorn really want to get a fire roll. Good luck, lads. I think they might actually at the moment. I think they're in a good position for that. Yeah, that's a big honor hit. But with the right cards, like, they're all about outnumbering, and this card says, "Hey, if I'm outnumbering you, I'm winning." So you have to respect that at least a little, particularly with their river chumleys that they might sling into the battle. It's 0 fate cost, which is always nice. It just costs you 3 honor instead, which is hefty. That set effect is very powerful because it blocks other. Like, once they do that, you're like, well, I'm not pumping out of this unless I can rustle up another set effect somewhere. So yeah, strong card. Be very interesting to see who has fire at the end of this, because some clans could really use that. Some clans could really, really make hay out of that one. And Lion could get some go out of it. Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting to see who uses that.
Mm-hmm. And else like to chip in on Unleash the Djinn? Any other views?
Yeah, I really don't like that they made it prohibitively expensive and restricted for the clan that actually owns it, and they made it prohibitively expensive for everyone else who might use it. This is a card. Now, understandably, this is a card that could undermine certain environments single-handedly in the future. Like blanket force pumps are blanket force setting and force pumps are quite dangerous to have around. But I kind of don't like that they made it a 3 splash cost. I wish it was 2 or 1, because I'd love to play it.
Alright, so that wraps up the Elemental Cycle. So maybe just for the pack, first of all, Are there what are the highlights? Who is it? Is it the Unicorn Stronghold? Are there any other winners here? Baz, you're shaking your head.
This is the Unicorns pack.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's certainly not Lion's
Yeah.
pack, that's for sure.
Scorpion got a couple of, well, they got the Zokogen at least. Lion absolutely slamming it with Kazoo Warrior, of course.
Not far behind
but
Crab,
Crane
right?
and Crane. Yeah, no, and Crane did very well also. Great province, and the Tengu is also very good.
Yeah.
But I think we'll give it to Unicorn, I think, this time.
All right, nah, everything's in the wrong place, but that doesn't matter. So the cycle as a whole, where do we stand? Who are the winners and the losers? We've come out of a Kotai season with Scorpion and Crab really doing pretty well. Clans like sort of Lion, Unicorn, Phoenix have sort of mostly struggled. Are they going to be competitive now? Do we see that sort of starting to shake up? Have things been shaken up enough for your liking? Justin, not convinced?
No, I think Dragon and Scorpion were the overall winners of the cycle, probably. Crab got some interesting stuff, but more lateral. Whereas, Dragon just got amazing cards for. I mean, they just got amazing cards, left, right, and center. And
there's
Scorpion
an entire new deck.
Yeah. Scorpion got some great new stuff as well. Reinforces what they're doing already. Makes that even better than it was. I mean, like the real hope is that Unicorn's Toride is going to force Unicorn to reconsider what they do. It's going to force Scorpion to reconsider what they do. But yeah, I mean, Unicorn are a big winner as well, because they were absolutely in the garbage before the tier started, before the cycle started. They may have a legitimate chance of climbing out of that now, and Lion may have the dubious distinction of now being the kind of the tier 3 clan. But we'll see. I really don't think this cycle changes much at all, to be honest. I still see Scorpion, Crab, and Dragon as the top 3 clans, and then probably Crane, then probably Unicorn, Phoenix, then probably Lion at the bottom, probably.
Yeah. Andy, any other thoughts?
I think it started out really nice for Lion, because Lion saw Hisumori Toride and we're like, okay, it's a new lease on life for Lion, where we were sort of down in the doldrums for a little while. We were not getting much love in terms of card support, and all of a sudden we're getting some pieces coming together. I think one of the bright sparks for the entire set for Lion was Ikoma Ikehata. Ikehata is a super addition to Lion and a really, really nice piece. But I think the overall winner here was definitely Dragon. Dragon came out well on top in this one, like Hawk Tattoo, Void Punch, Hurricane Punch, Mitsu, Tagashi Mitsu. Like, just so many jaw-dropping cards, like really, really, really nice cards. Scorpion, I don't think anyone got enough to knock Scorpion off top spot. I don't think anyone got enough to really dislodge them. So I really think, like Scorpion are still top dog for me. I think Dragon stay fairly strong. And I would agree with Justin that I'm not going to give away too much. I wrote an article that's going to be coming out soon, but which has my rankings of the clans. But I do rate Lion as the bottom tier.
We'll get that article up tonight so people can have a read of that after we're done here.
Yeah.
Baz, for you, what are your takeaways from the cycle as a whole? Were you a fan of the themes that came out? The sort of
So the provinces, the elemental provinces, didn't really land. I think there was a misstep in the design of those, where unless I'm misreading it, where they were trying to encourage people to play these under that role, but because they were all destruction effects, it kind of reverses it out. Some of them are interesting. The majority of them I don't think are. So that was a kind of a poorly landed team, I think. The creatures, just from a raw concept, I don't really like that side of it. I think there's plenty of Bushi and Shigenja and, kind of core themes that we could have explored a little bit more before we got into that side. But I understand why you'd want to introduce that kind of fantastical element into the story, just to kind of set it apart from, Sengoku Japan or something like that. The Shigenja thing, they definitely want to focus on the elements, and right now I think every clan has enough Shigenja to play spells if they want to, obviously to a greater or lesser extent. The small characters that get boosts were possibly a disaster from my perspective. The Lion got a fantastic character, the Phoenix got a fantastic character. I think a lot of the other clans...
No, we didn't.
The one cost 3/3?
No, that's not. No, we got the 2/0 garbage guy, the Reader of Omens. That was our.
Hey man,
guy.
he's still better.
Okay.
Than
Fair enough. Okay, well,
he is still better than
Garbo
Catman. Yeah.
I'm thinking of that other one. So
she's amazing. She's incredible. Like she's.
So some of them landed, some of them didn't, and I'm not quite sure why they took certain approaches. There's the fields now. Maybe it's just because we ended on a kind of a poor pack, but it does feel like there's a lot of dud cards throughout the entire thing. And I get that they're trying to focus on different deck types and different approaches. And for the dragon, it has most certainly worked. Like the dragon monk deck is now, I'm not going to say fully formed, because we're still going to be playing a lot of non-monk cards in it, but it is operational and fantastic, and I really enjoy playing it. So that's, to me, that seems like a case where they have managed to push out a new deck type. But there are so many cards in this set that when reviewing it, it was like, well, it doesn't do anything now, but maybe in a couple of cycles there will be a deck it'll go in. But for the time being, no. And I know why they do it, but it just feels poor opening a pack and then putting, all but 2 of them into your folder and never seeing them again for another 2 years until that deck type comes out. So, delighted to have new cards. There's a lot of interesting things going to happen. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what people play at Gen Con. So it's the first 4, I think, isn't it? And Worlds is going to be pretty exciting, seeing how this all shakes out. So any change to the meta is super interesting for me. And yeah, people are talking about hawk tattoos everywhere, so it's going to be really interesting to see if that's what actually happens. And I should point out that Dragon are the ones who suffer in this. We're the ones who play the monks. You all get the bonuses. You know what I'm saying here? Yeah. You get to take action immediately after you drag in Togashi Mitsu. I have to wait after I drag into Tori. That's hardly fair.
Owen, what anything from that you'd like to pick up on?
I think Scorpion started this cycle on top, and I think they're probably still there. Maybe Unicorn will ask them a bunch of questions they don't like. We'll see about that. I think Crab, in the first 4 packs, Crab didn't get much better in the first 4 packs. They got some nice new tools. They got Kuniyari. They got Spreading the Darkness, which is actually, I think, really strong. But I'd say the real transformative effect on Crab is pack 5 and 6 when Kuni Lab and new Sookie Broker comes in, and actually Crab gets a second deck type. And that's quite exciting. You might see some play out of the Berserkers. I think Lion are in trouble. I think Unicorn are a lot better. I think Crane and Lion might actually start to get an honor deck going, which would be great for the high bid environment when more clans can actually punish people for just bidding 5 thoughtlessly.
Great for the game, I would say.
I think
another victory condition.
Well, that it's like all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, Phoenix might switch hit on you, and like Lion, and if you give Lion and Crane a 5-bid turn 1, and they play away the chrysanthemum, and suddenly they've got actual ways of reliably gaining honor, you could be in trouble. Similarly for Crab and Scorpion with Dishonor. So if those things start to happen, that's all good. That's good for the game. It means that there's less thoughtless bidding. There's less just automatically bid 5. That'd be good.
Cool. And we ended the last pack review without a beaver fact. So can you give us a good one?
So during summers and when there are normal light cycles, beavers work to a repeating 24-hour rhythm, so that they get up at the same time of the day, they go to sleep at the same time of the day. However, in situations where they're under ice or there's no light during the day, if you're far enough north, they switch to a 26.5-hour cycle, which is unusual for animals. Most animals default to a 24-hour cycle, even in the absence of light, but they switch to a 26.5-hour cycle and then reestablish themselves when the light comes back out.
Clearly from a different planet.
I was just going to say, does that coincide with the diurnal cycle of any planet in the solar system? The truth is,
I will look it up. I did want to say that at the start of the show we were talking about Radiant,
Yes.
Jack Murray's Kickstarter, and just for anyone who tuned in a bit later, we want to mention it again. He started out today. He needed another, I think, kind of about 30-ish backers. He's down to needing 10 backers to fund. So if you're interested, pop on there, take a look at that. And, good game, great representation of the MOBA genre.
Yeah.
Well,
Someone did describe the game to me as all of those things that we've complained about, they're fixed. So we'll have to see. And
I didn't see any hits or haymakers in that game. I'm not sure.
Results, they're kind of like haymakers.
Yeah.
Justin, Mars has a 24-hour day or 25-hour day, so it's not quite 26.
But it's not quite 26 and a half.
No. The next one after that is.
So what you're saying is like outside the solar system. That's what you're saying, Baz. I'm reading between the lines here.
The next one out there is Mercury at 1,408 hours. So somewhere in between there. Yes.
Isn't there
extra solar system?
Doesn't Venus have a longer day than it has a year?
Correct.
It could do. Yeah. Venus is weird in all kinds of ways. It spins in the wrong direction and all kinds of stuff. Could be something to think about.
Astronomical facts from astronomical podcasts.
Yep.
All right, I think it definitely seems like it's time for us to wrap up.
Absolutely. I think narcosis is fine.
Delirium is set in.
We're talking about diurnal cycles.
I'm going Kitsu mad.
So this weekend is
Gen Con.
So we'll have new roles, we'll have new winners, we'll have nice and exciting things to talk about.
Yeah, and maybe we will get on to the elephant in the room that we've sort of been avoiding, which is roll locking.
The article. Roll locking.
You're supposed to deny its existence.
What article?
Andy's article is published.
Andy's article.
After
we're posting
over. After over a year, Andy's finally, written an article. It's big news.
FFG often announces new games, often in their established universe during Gen Con. Any
Wednesday.
For another L5R product to be announced. Another game set up for years.
L5R Clan Wars, going back to the table.
Yeah.
I think L5R Dungeon Crawler, built off a Descent-like engine.
Be amazing.
That would be pretty cool. I would love to see a story box for L5R rather than having to play against filthy humans. Something that I could play against myself.
Play against cats.
Yes, kill Kitsu.
Maybe there's some mechanics in the story box that make the Kitsu broken, like in multiplayer.
Well, the Kitsu are certainly broken, but not in the sense that usually we get excited about.
It's been fixed.
Fixed, yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. Trip to that, huh?
All right. Thanks to everyone in chat for sticking with us through thick and thin. And we might be back next week. We'll see if we can do that, or if we get back to our regular 2 weekly cycle. So thanks for sticking around, for chatting, and thanks to the guys for turning up and chatting.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good.
Yeah, everybody.
Take her
Take
easy.
it easy. Bye.